So I'm curious, in your work with leaders and with cultures, what about visions, right? What about team visions, company visions, the North Star, the thing to grab hold of and be a part of? What have you learned, or what do you advise about how leaders bring vision to life for their teams and the cultures?
Yeah, I love this question because we can get so carried away in these missions and they get so wordy. And we're trying to be so inclusive of everything we think is important from, the environment to education to whatever. And it gets wordy and it gets complicated. I really encourage people just make it really simple and make it memorable. I remember we were working with a company out in California, a tech company. And I said, look, as we're coaching you up and putting together these, rituals and so on, what are your core values? And he said, oh, I'm so glad you asked. We just had this retreat and we worked really hard on it over like 3 days, right? I said, great. What are they? And he said, let me go get them. And he came back and I'm telling you, they had 12 core values. I said, that's nobody can remember 12 core
Yeah.
values. I said, Moses only had 10, and most people can't recite those either, right? And they've been around for thousands of years. So, one of the best examples of a vision that is so simple and so memorable, there's a wonderful restaurant chain here in the States called Texas Roadhouse. And they're in a few other countries as well, but they've got like 400 plus, almost 500 locations. Their mission and vision and values is expressed in 4 words. You're going to love this. It's legendary food and legendary service. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, the founder, a wonderful guy, Kent Taylor. So he's been living this for years, right? And built this extraordinary, you know, restaurant group. He says, and so we get all these, high priced consultants come in and they're talking to us, you should really rework that and include like the environment and all this kind of stuff. He says, great. He said, look, have at it. He says, I only have 2 rules. Whatever you come up with has to be only 4 words. And 2 of those words have to be legendary. The thing is, though, you think about it, like the servers come back to the kitchen and they've got their wonderful steaks or whatever it is. It's okay for the server to say, you know what? This isn't legendary. Can you do it again? And the cook is like, not a problem. If you don't think it's legendary, I don't think it's legendary. And then they talk about, so what's more important, the food or the service? And Kent would always say, you can't have one without the other. You can't have legendary food without legendary service.
Yeah.
So my advice is take a lesson from Texas Roadhouse, right? Keep it simple and make it memorable. And then you live it every day. You talk about rituals at Texas Roadhouse. Before they start every shift, they have the alley rally. So they've got this alley, right? All their restaurants are configured the same, and they bring everybody in. They give out all the assignments. They call out their names. They have cheers, and all this fun stuff. It's the rally alley, and everybody's psyched. And then they turn up the music, and everybody heads out, and it's a great day. Again, rituals. And what's the chant? Legendary what? Food.
Right.
Legendary what? Service.
That's right.
Let's go.
Yeah. Keep it simple, keep it memorable. I love it.
Yep.
And for that to play out over time and for this sort of cultural embedding or transformation, depending where organizations are starting from, it takes discipline and it takes concerted effort. In your experience, how do organizations know they're on the right path? Like what's the measurement here? What's the indication of, success, we're on the right track?
Well, business is really simple. Are you making money? I mean, say we've got this amazing culture and we're about to declare bankruptcy. I go, well, I think you've misconstrued what a great culture is supposed to be all about, right? Turnover is a great indicator. Do you have really high turnover? Texas Roadhouse, I mean, in the restaurant industry, you have turnover.
Right.
Most of your employees are part-time. They're students or they're the second income or, whatever. They've got other jobs as well. Turnover is a great indicator. Profit is a great indicator. Growth is a great indicator. And I think one of the big tests of any great culture is crisis. And I'm going to come back to Texas Roadhouse. When the pandemic hit, Texas Roadhouse's takeaway business was 5%. 5%. In fact, they didn't believe in it, because in the Texas Roadhouse restaurants, it's all about the experience. It's about the ice cold beer. It's about the line dancing. It's about the sports and the music and so on. All of a sudden, it had to be 100% takeaway. Well, because they had such high engagement, and because people were so proud to work there, they started to ideate like crazy. Service with a smile, right? Service with a heart 6 feet apart. Remember everybody at the distance and all that. And they were doing stuff in the parking lot, and they were having, farmers markets and all kinds of stuff. They never took $1 from the government. They never laid off a single employee. They said, look, it's a roadhouse, so their employees aren't associates. They're roadies. If you're rock and roll, you love a good roadie, right? And he said, if you're not comfortable coming in, don't worry about it. Your job is safe. We're going to pay you. Think about that for a minute. Part-time, full-time, didn't matter. So wait a minute, my company cares enough about me that even if I can't come to work, they're going to pay me.
Yeah.
And then when it was safe and they started to show up and they had their rally alleys, people were in tears. They were so grateful to be able to come back to work. So yes, profit growth, turnover was really great. How did you handle a crisis? And they were recognized as the best restaurant group in the nation, probably the world, if they had one like that. And their stock went from like $85 to $12. In 6 weeks in the pandemic, they were profitable.
Wow.
And their stock went over $100.
Yeah.
So
it's a great example.
Turnover, growth, all that stuff. How do you handle a crisis?
Hey, if you're getting value from today's conversation, make sure you subscribe right now so you don't miss any future episodes of the Aspire to Inspire podcast.